Zohran Mamdani is only 1 month away from officially becoming New York City mayor, which is terrifying. And right now he's putting together the most radical group of individuals that I think the city's ever seen, which is saying a lot because New York has had some bad leaders. The goal of all of these radicals is the same: let all the prisoners out of jail. They are not shy about this. They're openly admitting that that is their goal. This is Lumumba Bandele. That's his name. He's part of Zohran Mamdani's transition team, and he says that they just want to abolish the police force entirely.
There is a problem with the overall framing of what policing has been and continues to be, and that it must be abolished.
They want to just let criminals back onto the street. Janos Marton, he is who Mamdani is supporting for Manhattan District Attorney, obviously a massive job. He came out, said that in his mind, his goal would to be to let out 80% of the people in their prisons back on the street.
And how do we get this country to a place where we have 1 million fewer people in jail and prison? Now, as it relates to Manhattan, I think we can be a little bit bolder than that. We are a supposedly liberal city with a ton of resources and a ton of ways to support people outside of jail and prison. And so I've called for cutting the Manhattan jail population by 80%. And I'm the only candidate in our race who's made a pledge like that. And to me, if you're not making a numbers-based pledge, how are we supposed to hold you accountable once you win?
The city is yours. Do with it as you please. We give it to you, the people. This is literally The Dark Knight Rises. That was my Bane impression. Tom Hardy's amazing. Dark Knight Rises is amazing. It's not amazing that this is happening in New York City. New York City is not supposed to be Gotham. Zohran Mamdani is Bane. He is a modern day Bane. Not buff and like strong and intimidating, but same policies. The lie that they're selling right now is that the incarcerations don't help crime. Of course they do. Obviously they do. One of the best case studies that we have for this is in El Salvador. If you look at this graph, this is the murder rate versus incarceration rate in El Salvador. And as you see, murder rate really went up in the 2000s, spiked from about 50 to about 100. And steadily, the incarceration rate went up until about 2020 when Bukele took over, Christian, great leader. And what you can see is the incarceration rate just skyrocketed and the murders plummeted. In fact, the murder rate in El Salvador is well below what we have in the United States today. So obviously it works. It's just common sense. You lock up the murderers. One of the reasons myself and other conservatives feel so passionately about this is because the vast majority of violent crimes right now are caused by repeat offenders. It's not just an isolated incident. People don't just wake up and decide to do horrible things. Usually these people have maybe had 10 arrests. Some of them have even had 40 prior charges we've seen in many cases, especially in New York. And yet they were allowed to go back on the street and do the unthinkable to someone's daughter or someone's wife or someone's mother. And this is the thought process of Zohran Mamdani. It's not just him, though. It's really the whole Democrat Party right now. It is very mainstream. Here is Brandon Johnson, who, of course, is the disgraced mayor from Chicago, saying that prisons are racist and should just be abolished entirely.
We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that. And we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down.
Definitionally, you can literally incarcerate your way out of violence. It's just not true what he's saying. You just lock up the murderous people and you're done. If you want to talk about other solutions like single motherhood, especially in the Black community, or poverty, all that's fine. We can do preventative things, but let's start with imprisoning the people who are being violent. Like, that's just a start. Let's do that first. Then we can talk about all the preventative things. Brandon Johnson also notes that this is racist. Maybe it isn't racist, Brandon. Maybe it's just that you need to go fix your own community. Maybe there's something happening in the Black community that's just horrible. And it's, by the way, Black on Black crime, much more common than Black on white crime. Black on white crime is certainly a problem. Black on Black crime is the biggest problem. So maybe look from within, Brandon, and fix your own community, because you've got Black young men right now committing a huge percentage of the crimes. Again, to a lot of Black communities. Like, that's just, it's a horrible thing. Why? I don't understand why we have to go through this whole charade of racism when Black people are hurting other Black people. It's not racism. In New York, just this weekend, a group of teens tried to have a drag race on a street, and this man came out of his house said, hey, you can't do that here. This is my property. They jumped him, almost took his life. Here is what that looked like.
About a block away, a guy asked them not to stand on his property and told them to leave, and they ended up assaulting him.
Fractured nose, fractured shoulder, fractured bone in my face, a few fractured ribs, and this fracture in my neck with the cartilage. And
according to Brandon Johnson, that's just racism, apparently. Those hoodlums were just minding their own business, just trying to do good things. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Several other Democrats have called to abolish prisons. Again, these are not isolated incidents. Here's what Rep. Afton Ben said on Juneteenth this last year. She tweeted out, on this Juneteenth, we need less white folks posting Canva graphics and more adopting prison abolition as a political foundation. Again, what are you saying? Again, this is Juneteenth we're talking about. She's saying we need to abolish prisons. Why? Because only black people go to prison? First off, that's not true. Second off, you're kind of saying the quiet part out loud there. You're kind of admitting who the problem is. And by the way, I don't think this is a uniquely black problem. If you look at the numbers, white on white crime is more common than black on white crime. Black on black crime is the number one problem that we have in America. So it's actually not between races very much. It's race on their own race. But if you want to look at where a huge part of the problem is, sure, I mean, there's certainly a problem in the black community. I don't think we need to lie about that. In fact, I think it does the black community a lot of harm if we lie about this. And this line of thinking on the left makes no sense. Makes no sense logically. But when you look into their actions and what they do, it actually makes a lot of sense. They are just a violent and destructive group of people. That might sound like a generalization, but that is baked into the philosophy of leftism right now. Here is a march just from this week to show you what I mean.
Okay. So would you support political violence?
I think the country was founded on political violence.
So is that a yes?
Do you support political violence?
I don't.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Thank you.
So in my mind, this is not complicated. The left likes violence. We've seen it over and over again. It is historically how they have moved their political agenda forward. It is what Marx talked about. Over and over again, Marx said, this is how the proletariat takes over the bourgeois. It is the philosophy. It's not a secret. It's what they do. They know that the best way to create chaos and more violence is to let people out of jail. It's just that simple. The question is this. In cities like New York and Chicago, are all of those people just going to stand by and let them turn into Gotham? Or are they going to stand up after seeing Zohran Mamdani do horrible things for a year, 2 years, and reverse course? We'll see. Hey guys, I wanted to invite you to subscribe to my new Substack. Substack is a weekly newsletter that comes right to your inbox. It's completely free to you, and I write about things I'm not able to get to on the show. Go check it out right now. The link is in the description below. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, everybody. Please like the video so other great patriots like yourselves will see it, and you can tune in every single weekday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show, or you can watch another video right here.